I hate groups of people. I hate people who have a group of people with a common purpose. Because pretty soon they have little hats.
I remember being in the South once, and I saw a bumper sticker that had a Confederate flag that said, "Let's do it again." And my first thought was, what do you mean, lose? Which brings me to the latest Trump-backed racist attempt to go back to the 50s, and I mean the 1850s.
Oh, I wish I was in the land of cotton. Old times there are not forgotten.
This alcoholic fuckstick, Pete Hegseth, he wants to restore to West Point a giant painting of General Robert E. Lee that shows him wearing his gray Confederate uniform and accompanied by a slave guiding his horse. What the fuck? You don't have enough war heroes that weren't slave-owning traitors?
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay?
The painting was originally hung at West Point in 1952, at the height of racial segregation, voter suppression, and Jim Crow laws in the South. And if you think about it, not too different from what Donnie Fat Ankles wants right now, all part of his effort to rehabilitate Lee's image.
And white people are done being bullied.
Discriminating against and denigrating, just denigrating white people.
In addition to that, Trump wants to reintroduce Confederate symbols and then get rid of monuments that highlight the evils of slavery and then remove references to slavery from national museums and parks. You know, like it never happened.
The president's latest complaints about exhibits on slavery come as the administration tries to overhaul how American history is taught by criticizing or even threatening to withhold funding from schools that offer curricula like the impacts of slavery.
Lee may have been a great general, but he was a traitor. Lee's family was shocked when, after more than 30 years of service, he resigned from the Army in 1861 to fight on the side of the Confederacy, a war which killed more Americans than the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, the Spanish-American War, World War I, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam combined. And we celebrate these fucks?
Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland.
When Congress passed a law in 2020 creating a commission to remove Confederate names and symbols from military institutions, including bases and academies, it was way too long in coming. But Robert E. Lee's likeness was all over West Point, and at least 5 roads and buildings were named in his honor. Again, he's a traitor, but the commission decided that portraits of Lee in his blue Army uniform could stay up. But he ordered the removal of the portrait that showed Lee in Confederate gray and accompanied by a slave. The commission also recommended renaming the areas bearing his name. I mean, come on, he was a traitor who fought against the United States for enslaving black Americans.
At the same time, I've seen the secretary in more internal meetings where he is super focused on like very, in my opinion, weird details and very agitated and kind of like yelling and just nothing's good. So it's like a tale of two Petes.
Well, it's not clear how Hegseth could bring the Confederate portrait back out of storage without breaking the law. You know, of course, that doesn't bother Trump. The restoration of Lee's Confederate portrait, it's part of a larger push by man-titties, well, to honor people who fought to preserve slavery. That's simple.
Florida's Board of Ed came out with their new Black History curriculum. The curriculum includes how black slaves were able to use their experience, in some cases, to make their brutally hard lives better.
Now, that's fucked up.
Mr. Secretary, I'm somewhat puzzled. I grew up in Virginia where Robert E. Lee was revered. I think when I was a kid, his birthday was a school holiday. But as I grew older and learned more about American history, I learned that he fit the classic definition of a traitor. He took up arms against his country. He broke his oath as a member of the United States Army, which he took upon entering his career at West Point. Why are you going through these incredible gymnastics, finding current soldiers or other soldiers to rename? And you slipped a minute ago. You said we're returning these bases to their original names. Robert E. Lee, leading general of the Confederacy, Pickett, the other names. Why are you doing this? I don't understand what the motivation is to rename bases for people who took up arms against their country on behalf of slavery. What possible motivation can there be for this? Who is telling you to do this? Who is urging you to do this?
Communities appreciate that we've returned it back to what it was instead of trying to play this game of erasing names.
We're not erasing history, Mr. Secretary. We're recognizing history and recognizing that mistakes have been made in this country The greatest of all was the Civil War.
In case you forgot, Hegseth is a drunk who once assaulted a woman he forced into a hotel room and paid her off to not press charges and sign an NDA. This is a guy whose own mother recognizes him as a piece of shit.
Hegseth accused of routinely mistreating women for years by his own mother. In a 2018 email to her son obtained by the New York Times, Penelope Hegseth wrote, "On behalf of all the women, and I know it's many, you have abused in some way, I say get some help and take an honest look at yourself."
A guy with white supremacist tattoos on his chest.
This will not be a process tried in the media.
This is Army Communications Director Rebecca Hodson following Trump's orders. She spoke to the push to include the names of criminals and traitors who killed other Americans so they could keep slaves. She said, "At West Point, the United States Military Academy is prepared to restore historical names, artifacts, and assets to their original form and place. Under this administration, we honor our history and learn from it. We don't erase it." Don't fucking erase it. Just put it where it belongs, where Trump belongs, in a prison. Already before its removal in 2022, West Point's 21st Century Officer Corps and alumni began pushing back against Lee's sanitized image. Of course, Trump and Fox News called it woke. To them, standing up against murder and slavery is woke. So I guess I'm woke. After the Confederates surrendered in November of 1865, the federal government spent more than a decade pursuing a policy to reunify the nation and transform the South's slave-based society into something more equitable. It was called Reconstruction, but it didn't last long. I bring this up because it's all happening again. It wasn't long before the federal government downplayed the Confederacy's treason, papered over the issue of slavery, and ignored the underrepresented black officers of the U.S. Army. And when Rutherford B. Hayes ran for president in 1876, the election was disputed and had to be determined by the Electoral College. Hayes promised Southern states that if he won, he would pull federal troops protecting black people at the polls. And the rest is history. The federal government withdrew troops from the South, allowing the former Confederate states to impose racial segregation, deny black people the right to vote, and terrorize black communities.
In Dixieland, where I was born, early on a frosty morning, look away, look away, look away.
And now, while Trump is restoring names and statues of Confederate generals, he's empowering bigots. And you get moments like what happened in Charlotte, where these Americans...
Jews will not replace us! Jews will not replace us!
Well, they killed a young woman who didn't want a traitor to have a statue in the country where African Americans are attacked and imprisoned at a rate 10 times greater than the rest of us. The resurrection of Robert E. Lee and his Confederate portrait comes after Pouty Fuckwinkle has brought back Army bases named after Confederate soldiers, restored a statue of a Confederate general, and re-erected a monument devoted to the idea that the Civil War was a noble lost cause that enslaved black people supported.
Oh, hell no!
While Trump supporters carry both Confederate and Nazi flags, the American people are finally starting to see Trump for what he truly is.
Very fine people on both sides.
No, Donnie, there weren't.
Are you not entertained?
Goddamn right.
It's sitting on my desk.
Who are you talking to?
I could be a stupid person.
Trump admitted he knew Epstein for 15 years.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Do you have no shame?
I'm sorry, man.
It's not fair. Jeffrey Epstein?
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
Tick-tock!
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.